Listeners, do you remember a podcast that you used to listen to about James Bond movies? And it had 3 people, November, Devon, and Abby. Do you ever feel like episodes of Kill James Bond were more real than real life?
Did you ever feel like we were your real friends, even more than your actual ones?
What if you were on that podcast and you're remembering it as a podcast, but it was all real? That's where we've been, listeners. We've been in the podcast. We've been in Kill James Bond.
The Bond opaque. Fuck. You don't remember watching all 25 James Bond films with us together? You were there. You were there.
It was real.
And it was real and it was strong.
You need to wake up. You're dying.
We could have talked about James Bond together and on.
Enough of this. I'm hitting the theme song. You know it's capturing the energy when I have to open it with enough of this. Cease your prattling.
Silence, fools.
Yeah, I'm usually hitting you with like a silence fools right before we start recording, but like sometimes it creeps into the thing, you know. I gotta get my my daily Vizier affirmations in, you know.
Yeah, normally we cut it off from the start of the recording, but we all do our Vizier affirmations.
Just like getting in a one-on-one call with either Abby or Dev, depending on the week, and being like, they're plotting against you, sire.
The other one is fucking plotting.
They don't have your best interests at heart, my liege. Hello and welcome.
Saruman the White has ever been our ally.
Hello and welcome to a bonus episode of Kill James Bond. It is, as always, your real life friends, November, Abby, and Dev. And we watched I Saw the TV Glow, which you may recall. It's done a lot of press. It's like one of the big trans films of the last couple of years. A sort of cinematic transgender tipping point is occurring, and we're getting a lot of art about being trans, which is something that, like, you know, is great.
I'm in support of it. It's
cool. Absolutely.
I'm part of it.
I mean, yeah, we kind of all are, actually, which is a strange thing to think about.
Oh, shit.
Oh, God. The podcast might not be real for you guys listening, but it's real for me.
It is real for us.
I'm in this shit. I'm live right now. I'm recording.
I'm in this shit, and I can't get out.
I'm she, her. I've always been she, her.
Dracula's ex-girlfriend Flo, is that anything? I know.
They must have amnesia. They forgot I'm they, them.
But yes, as this is, as you may get the sense, even if you haven't seen the film, this is a movie about transition and about the kind of like mutability of memory and about parasociality and about kind of finding your identity through, in this case, TV, but art more generally, right?
It's about like a specific kind of trans experience, which may not be your experience.
It was not mine.
Are trans.
I will lay my cards on the table. Yeah.
Yeah. And the important thing to remember is that if this film doesn't reflect your experience and you're not this particular kind of trans person, you're a freak and there's something wrong with you. You're AGP.
As someone who is a freak and is AGP, and there is something wrong with me.
You the one who is AGP.
I'm kidding.
As the wrong kind of trans woman, right? Like, who did not relate to this movie in that way, right? Not relating to this movie doesn't make it a bad film. It's a bad film for other reasons. I don't really think
it's an episode of Kill James Bond.
There's going to be some conflict, listeners, because November is of the opinion that this is a bad film, and I am of the correct opinion that it's good.
I'm not really of the opinion that it's a bad film. It's not a film that I connected with. It's
fair.
Technically, it is well done. I think there are some things that I would change about it were I making it, but then that's the thing. It's a very individual experience, right? And I have a broader philosophical beef that is not really with the movie, but is kind of like a call to action. There will be a call to action in this episode about this kind of wave of trans art, right?
I think the review in I think it was the Times said much the same thing. Actually, it was like, this is really well made. I hated it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they hired me to write for them. They're a very transphobic newspaper, but
I enjoyed it. Obviously, I'm not trans feminine or indeed really trans masculine. I'm just sort of trans.
You're trans Devonin.
Indeed, I became Devon at a certain point, and this I do relate to this movie a lot as well. Like this one really, it did get me. It got me right in the heart. I cried twice the first time I watched it. Only once the second time.
God.
Progress.
I watched it in a room full of trans people in a cinema, and it was a wonderful evening. It was a transcendent experience. But anyway, we opened on the A24 logo, which is a sure sign that you're in for some freaky shit.
Less so these days.
Less
but yeah,
so.
yeah.
Look, A24 make good movies. I happen to believe they make great movies.
They also made X-Men Civil War. Yeah.
X-Men Civil War.
Every time I say Civil War, I tag on a new thing on the front of it. Like, Disney's Civil War, Marvel's Civil War, X-Men versus Ballistic X versus Sever Civil War, Capcom.
I happen to love the entire franchise. It's all really good. Anyway, A24 logo, and then we meet our protagonist.
Yeah, we open on this suburban road at night. There are the purple chalk outlines, drawings all over the road, and there's this ice cream truck in the distance with its lights on.
Someone has been fucking vandalizing the album cover for American football, is what's been happening.
Yes.
Also, I am going to need you two to do the bulk of the heavy lifting on recounting what happens in this movie, because I was too annoyed to do that.
Okay, that's fine.
Our first thing that happens is that we meet our protagonist, Owen, who is a young black boy, question mark. There will be some shenanigans over this question later.
Ostensibly so.
Yes, who's watching TV and sees an advert for this TV show called The Pink Opaque. The lead of which is a beautiful black girl named Isabel, who kind of looks a little bit like him.
Yeah, it's this shot of her walking across a football field.
Yes. And then we cut to him in class, and they're doing an activity, which I'm not sure if did other people do this? Because we did this in school, where they bring in a parachute and you just kind of lift it up and you sit under the parachute for a bit.
Hell yeah, we did this shit.
We didn't do this shit. No.
We did this shit, and I don't know why.
I got the big parachute, yeah.
You
go, and that's about it.
My experience in school was mostly just you do the plot of the Lord of the Flies to each other for I don't know, 10 years or whatever.
We did that too.
Well, you can do that on or about the parachute.
Yeah.
Don't worry. You close that parachute down, it's only kids under there. The teachers aren't in there. Lord of the Flies occurs.
Yeah. Anyway, the parachute, listeners, because this movie is not a subtle one, the parachute is literally in the trans flag colors.
Yes.
Just in case any of you were just gee, I don't get it. What's the movie about? It's here is what the movie is about.
We're setting this out early.
The movie is very deliberately unsubtle.
Yes.
To be clear, right, if I talk about it being unsubtle later in a negative way, it's not a criticism that this is done because it was lacking skill or because it wasn't intentional. It's an intentional choice that the movie is making that I don't like, but that's fine,
And then we cut forward a little bit and we meet Owen when he's a little bit older. We're going to spend much of the first half of the film jumping about in time between young Owen and then our lead actor, Justice Smith, who narrates to us and tells us that the other night he couldn't sleep, so he started rewatching his favorite show, The Pink Opaque. Justice Smith's voice in this, the whole performance is fucking incredible. But his voice in particular is so fucking good.
Politely, he sounds like, and this is an incredible act to carry off for the whole movie, the biggest pussy in the world. Right.
It's so good. His voice is constantly cracking. He sounds like he's nervous about everything he's saying. It's perfect.
The teenager in The Simpsons, my God, you're greasy kid.
Oh, the squeaky voiced teen. Yeah.
It's quite a squeaky voiced teen.
It is. Well, it's also androgynous. It sounds, I don't know, I don't know what kind of voice training he did to achieve this, but it is phenomenal.
It is androgynous, yeah.
Anyway, we go to his high school on election night.
Void High.
Void High School, which is a very Night Vale detail. Up to you whether that's a compliment or not. I did
notice.
Yeah.
Oh, go on, you first.
The big VHS signs everywhere. Again, just kicking your absolute dick in with the it's symbolism. It's a movie about symbolism.
Yeah. What I do love about the Void High School is that there's a little sign somewhere that says Go Vultures, which leads me to believe that their football team is called the Void Vultures, which fucking goes.
That's great.
Listen, I'm not I'm a big merch person because I'm a terrible hipster and hypocrite about like films.
Absolutely wear a Void Vultures.
Yeah, so would my eyes are just fucking
Yeah.
lighting up. I need to get a Void Vulture shirt.
That'd be so fun. Yeah.
The Void Vultures like football jersey, 100% I would wear.
Oh, I've got to get one of those. Okay, great, fine.